Oh, hi. Welcome to the Within His Story podcast, where we discover and rest in our place in God's story. Today, we get to have another conversation with one of our students. Her name is Olivia. She is a huge part of what we do at His House NMC. But before we get into that, I'd like to give you an idea of what it is we do at His House. Check it out. You see, 5 years ago, my life changed when I was a freshman in college. I got involved with a student group called His House Christian Fellowship. This was a group of staff and students committed to building God's kingdom on college campuses. They taught me how to live in community, how to have a love for the lost, how to be discipled and make disciples, and most importantly, how to authentically share the gospel through word and action. Now, that left such an impression on me that upon graduation, I decided I want to work for His House full time. I now live in Traverse City, where I get to work alongside Pat Hill as we do ministry on the campus of Northwestern Michigan College. Every day, it's an incredible honor to watch God work powerfully in the lives of college students, and I hope you enjoy this conversation we get to have today. Ladies and gentlemen, today I am joined by someone who is extremely kind, extremely hospitable. If you've ever come to an NMC His House event and you felt welcomed, it's probably because you talked to this person. Ladies and gentlemen, Olivia Dimitrijevic. Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
Did I say your last name right?
You actually did get it right.
Yes. I pride myself in that. Olivia, can you just tell us a little bit about your life? Where are you from? How'd you get to NMC? What are you studying and why?
Okay, so I live in Traverse City, Michigan, and I came to NMC for their culinary arts program. I looked around at a couple other places, but this was the closest and the cheapest. And they have a really cool place that is separate from main campus. So you're on the water, it's super pretty. You get to share with maritime, so you get to see all the boats. That's pretty cool too. And yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that is a really unique building because it's just you and maritime in that building and no other programs, right?
Yeah, there is a Haggerty Center, and they are something completely separate. They put on different things, but yeah.
Yeah, if you're ever driving along the water in Traverse City and you see this really pretty building with a lot of glass in the middle and boats behind it, that's where Olivia gets to do a lot of her culinary learning. Through His House, we've known Olivia for just a few months. If you could let us know, how is it that you got involved in His House?
I was invited by a friend. Her name is Holly. I saw her one day, and I'm like, I'm going to go talk to her and say hi. And then she invited me to a game night, and then I started going after that, and then now I'm completely involved.
Yeah, that was when we did the game nights outside, right?
Mhm.
Game nights have somehow become one of the most special things we do. And instead of me talking about it, could you just let our listeners know what are the game nights that we do? What does it usually look like?
Yeah, game nights are on Thursdays at 7. And we all meet up and we play games and we have community and we hang out and we stay really, really late and we have lots of sleepless nights, but it's all good fun.
Yes. And what has been the highlight game?
Oh, spicy, definitely.
Yeah. For some reason, like over a dozen college students are committing hours and hours to playing spicy Uno, which I'll just say it is kind of a dumb game, but it works for some reason. And game nights just serve as a really unique time for us to just spend time with each other, relaxing, having fun. And like Olivia, that's often where people will have their first step into His house. It's not a Bible study, it's not a worship night. It's just get to know the people. And I think it's cool that was one of the first things you got involved with. So, Olivia, if I could ask, how is it that you started to get to know Jesus in your life? When did that happen and how?
Yeah, so I grew up Jewish originally, and then I moved up here, and I didn't really go to church at all until I met this friend at school, and she invited me to New Hope. So I started going there, and that's where I recommitted my life to Christ.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. When was that?
8th grade, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm. I don't know how
What?
many years ago that was.
It's all right. What about going to church? What was it? Anything you heard, anything you experienced that made you want to do that?
It gave me a lot of hope. It was a really joyful, presence, and that, really drawn me in.
Is there anything in your life recently, if you look at the past couple months, that you feel like you've been learning about God? Is there anything He's been teaching you lately?
Um, the importance of community and how you need other believers to help you in your walk with Christ. Like leaning on each other.
So how have you found that lately?
Um, I found that with close friends and people my age and
Mhm.
small groups has helped a lot.
Tell me about the small groups. What have those looked like? How have they been helpful?
Yeah, it's really cool, especially check-in is just so cool because Emily is just this is my life and it's messy and that's okay. And that makes it makes us feel that we don't have to hold anything back. We can just say it how it is and we'll get help or they'll just listen.
Yeah, and we touched on this with the last episode with Ty, but I feel like you can't hear it enough. Our check-in process for the listeners is where before a Bible study, before a worship night, we sit down with one another, groups of 5 or so, and we get honest about how we're feeling, and then as much as we're comfortable with, we share why we're feeling that way. So you could come in and say, I am excited and anxious, and you would explain why you're feeling those things. And Olivia's talking about these Monday Bible studies we have where there's a men's group and there's a women's group. And Emily, who leads the women's group, does a great job of setting the tone for what the sharing time gets to be like. People get to be comfortable with the fact that life is messy. You don't have control over everything, and God is still good. He's still God. And I think that's been healing for a lot of us. This question might overlap with the last one, but has God used His house to teach you anything helpful, anything in particular?
I would say probably time management and boundaries because I like to stay really late and have fun, but I have early classes and I can't keep doing that. So
Gotcha. So like the game nights and then when we hang out after a worship night, it's easy to just stay till 1 a.m., but there are other things going on in life.
yeah, really just like you can have the good things, but you need to know like when to leave and like how far to go with it.
Yeah, you guys are there to be students and it's good to be good students. Has there been anything you guys have learned in small groups or anything that Pat has touched on in terms of topics or themes that have been good to dive into?
Yeah, I can't really remember any of them.
That's
The
okay.
only thing I can remember is how much the women's group is working on grace and like
Mhm.
the book we're going through.
I've noticed among myself and I've noticed among a lot of students, especially people who have already been Christians for quite some time, that we really get pulled into this performance based mindset because that's what we're used to. That's what we're familiar with school and sports and all these things. And we're trying to confront the fact that God truly does operate in a different way where his love is not it's not first received by anything we could bring to the table, anything we could have to offer. It's more so received by being still and just saying yes to his kindness. And it's funny how incredibly difficult that is for us. So much so that it is has been one of the main things that we just keep over and over trying to hammer home this past semester. Be still, know that I am God. I'll be exalted among the earth, exalted among the nations. Don't worry about it. Well, Olivia, as we wrap up, there are just a few fun questions we have because we're curious. What is something you'd like to do someday or somewhere you'd like to go and why?
I really, really want to go to Alaska because it's really pretty. They have a lot of hiking, a lot of camping, and the northern lights. I really want to see those. I know you can see them in Michigan, but I've just never gone. And I don't know if they're better in Alaska or something, but yeah.
Yeah, I know people, you really need to be at the perfect place at the perfect time if you're going to see them in Michigan. And I think they're much more present up there. Um, do you realize that Alaska is very cold?
Yes, that's why I want to go.
Oh,
I'd rather go like to a cold place than to like a warm place.
which is funny because you just celebrated Christmas in Florida.
Yeah, it wasn't like we had one like 70-degree day. The rest was like 40s and 50s. So
Oh,
it wasn't too warm. It's
gotcha.
still warmer than here, which it felt nice, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Is there something you would like to do someday that's maybe on your bucket list?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't think so.
Maybe see the
I
northern
don't think so.
lights.
Probably see the northern lights. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any hobbies that you find you spend a lot of time doing?
Yes. I got into embroidery and I would do that for a long time, but I haven't done it since school started because I haven't had time or I haven't made time. And I want to get into crochet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my next task.
Sweet. What kinds of things do you want to crochet?
I want to make socks and I want to make a hat and I want to make a coaster.
Heck yeah.
Those are my 3 things for right now.
That's awesome. Is there anything about the upcoming semester that you are looking forward to or worried about?
Yeah, I'm excited for all the new people that are coming in and for all the new friends I'm going to meet. I'm worried about my schedule though, because it's a lot more than last semester. And last semester I was already like, wow, this is a lot. So, yeah, a lot of work and little time, but that's okay.
Yeah, they keep you culinary people pretty busy. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you would like to share with us? Anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Um, His House is great. It's a cool community, and you will learn more about God.
Awesome. Great way to end it. Olivia, thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your break.
Thank you. You too.
And thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this was insightful. I hope that you are encouraged to find your place in God's story and rest in it. You are cared for. He knows your needs and he loves you. And we love you too. See you.